It's wonderful. Thank you so much. Text is Luke chapter 5. Uh, you're also very familiar with the fishermen. And here they are. They toiled all night and they're tired and they're frustrated. They hadn't been rolling around the floor with the grandchildren, but they're tired nevertheless. And their boats are empty and their hearts are empty, and they had it. And Jesus sees them and knows who they are, and he's about to fill them both to the brim. We've seen those familiar faces before, as someone that has lost their job, or someone was told that they would have to move to a job perhaps less satisfying, or some cases they worked for years. We saw this during COVID and all went up in smoke overnight. Some of them still haven't been able to return. Well, Jesus sees them too, whether they're his or not. And he didn't come to any of us preaching more empty messages from the lifeless marble statues of Rome or Greece. He came to Peter and company and us that were taught if we work hard, we can save ourselves. It was the sign over Auschwitz that said, Arbeit macht frei. Hitler had stitched over had a metal fence that's still there today, and it's as big a lie as ever been told. The fishermen worked all night and nothing. They left empty handed. People worked for years, left empty handed, working jobs, doing things, overcoming illnesses empty handed. Others who worked themselves into oblivion, trying with white knuckle determination to secure themselves here, there, and everywhere else. Peter had to make a living. I mean, what else is there? You have to get by in this world. You have to survive in this world. Isn't this the land of promise? I don't see any of it. Abraham's children. Don't you know who we are? And we've never been slaves to anyone. Besides, who does Jesus think he was talking to? A bunch of amateurs? What does Jesus know about fishing? Well, Peter might be thinking what we're all tempted to think. I've got this. I know what I'm doing. There's a lot of truth there, this work thing. But it's God that gave us the gifts as part of this ongoing commitment and loving the human family. And what are we doing with the gifts that he gives us? What have we always done with the gifts or the power when God gives us the power and privileges that perhaps aren't given to others? Isn't it the same usual stuff like any other day? Does it surprise us people don't have time for God or room in their hearts crammed with fear to take time to listen to what he has to tell them? What are you going to do about it, Jesus? We toiled all night. We've got business to attend to, and we have no time for covenants or endless dreaming. There's some truths about life everybody knows, and some truths are bigger than others, but Jesus' truth meeting life, that's something different altogether. We know about covenants. Well, what about covenants? What about those Romans? Don't you have bigger fish to catch, Lord? Look at us. What do you see we don't see? Look at our mundane life, washing nets and repairing the boat and tackling, getting ready for our next launch to make ends meet, doing laundry, washing dishes. Glory in that. Is that what Jesus is talking about? That's life? Is that what he's offering them? More fish, a better retirement, a stress-free life? How many saviors are there? Is it us or God? We need to make up our minds on who it is. we're going to listen to it. Well, fishing is harder than it looks. I tried it, and those who do it best make it look very, very easy. And some of us here gave it our best shot and waited for the result. But look, I'm I'm talking about dabbling, not fishing. I mean, really, I'm not talking to everyone, but I can't do it to save me. I've tried it. Maybe the first time you'd ventured out as a kid to see what you could catch, or maybe when you were a kid, you thought, I could get lucky. I could get a big one. And maybe a small group of your little companions had their little worms on the hooks and didn't sleep much the night before. The morning came, we thought, is this all there is to it? It'll be a cinch. So when I was a child, we took our plunge out in the Sacramento River and we caught things. Clothing, shoes, garbage. One small one, my brother David threw back, but we kept trying. Well, I wasn't trying. I thought they were trying, so I kept pretending to try. It was our first day, and we were still filled with some excitement and hope, at least the thought I was having. It was true for me, or at least I had convinced myself, at least of that. There's so much about life that is unknown, and life is just far too complex. Which of us, which does add richness to the adventure and uncertainty to the adventure. But when you're a kid, that's fine. I mean, we're still kids, so we didn't have anything to lose. I mean, we didn't have to worry about other things. But Jesus is more than fish he's after. He saw them. The same looks we had on our faces and saw the unworthy men who think they're just too sinful to keep. Throw them back. He wasn't dismissing what they were doing. That would be a mistake. Thinking we have to die on a mission field somewhere to find God or feel our worth in God. Where is God? Everyone wants to know the answer to that question. Where's God when a child is diagnosed with leukemia or a tornado or a hurricane wrecks the state of Florida? Where's the adventure in all of that? We toiled all night, don't you know? And nothing. You fill in the blank. He was giving them a kingdom. Jesus was doing all the fishing. He starts with Peter standing there with this empty net. Jesus saw more. Throw your net in for a catch. What? Go ahead, I'll wait. Jesus knew the kingdom was more than fishing. It was Jesus doing the fishing. Ask Jonah. He catches Peter in that magnificent net of his, and Peter had no idea what Jesus was doing. See, God will sneak up on you. Go ahead, Peter. It matters to God what we do. Don't ever dismiss the little you're doing as nothing. It matters how we think and feel about what we're doing. Here, Jesus catching the catchers, and they were about to be set free. This wasn't Dr. Doolittle. Jesus is God being a man, and God could talk to fish. And he talked to a fish, and it swallowed Jonah. So who's catching who? Is it that God binds and obligates us? Is it to our surprise that we are free even when we're bound by God? Well, no one knows this better than Peter would know it. So Jesus gets in Peter's wooden boat and he draws them in. And he knows he'll catch some and he knows he'll throw others back. He speaks in parables about his father's kingdom, and it's Jesus drawing the dragnet. No one can catch them or snatch them out of my hand. I came not to judge the world, but to save it. God is not rejecting them. The world is rejecting him and saying no to him and his Holy Father. Could Jesus have, he could have fed the world, could he have not? The true bread for every man. Look, he gave them fish with their bread of 5,000 versus Peter's 2. No one gets their fish by their own sweat. Disciples are not. And he taught them and he fed them and he would reveal himself to the little startup group. We were fishing with sticks and shoestring like we used to as a little group of kids. But how many do you have? 2 small fish? Ah, that's nothing. Never believe that. Their eyes would be open a little at a time until they couldn't stop talking about it. 5 loaves. And Jesus didn't come to lecture Peter until he got the point. That's not what he was doing. God didn't send him to do that. Teach his brains out until he's 90 and answer all of Peter's questions on this and that. And Peter had a lot of questions. But to offer himself for the world to see, I'll take what you've got. I'll take the 2 small fish. And he started with these few small fish, a mustard seed, and he could feed a world with it. So shall your offspring be if you can count them. Go ahead, old man. Count and don't stop counting. They would reap an ocean of Abraham's children that even you among them today are too numerous to be counted. That's us, isn't it? That is us. Too many? Just 2. Yeah. Like Abraham and Sarah, just 2. Was it just the miracles? Well, I'm convinced miracles don't convert and change hearts. It wasn't their trust. It was his amazing trust and his unyielding trust when we turned up with empty nets and empty hearts. We toiled all night, don't you know? How many do you have? 0. We worked on this business for 10 years and the restaurant failed. We did our part. Now God does his. Hmm, that's rubbish. I never believe that it's all us and not God, or every last fish in that vast ocean doesn't belong to him. Jesus didn't come to teach them how to be successful or how to improve their business model or give them life of failed business models, failing stock markets, and the threat of death and old age. What if he had been Peter's personal Messiah? What kind of Messiah dies anyway? If I'm lifted up, I'll draw them into myself. Hey, Peter, do you want to go fishing? He came to give them a kingdom. But how did he do that? Empty nets and empty hearts. You want true treasure? Come with me and catch men. With God, all things are possible. Jesus is talking to his God, but he's talking to their God. Believe in me. Believe what I'm telling you. And he makes us believe we could do the impossible. Trees cast into the seas instead of your nets. He calls them. That's how he does it with all our limitations, known and unknown. That's what he's still doing. God trusts us. Do you know what I've done? Fear not, little flock. The Father is calling you. Can you hear him in the wind and the raging storm? Shh. Be still and watch. Do you still want to go fishing, Peter? Do you want to go fishing? Well, how about catching men and engaging in real adventure with me as your captain? Well, what do you say? The boat's sinking and you're running out of time. You could say, no, I'm not going to force you to do this. I know life is hard, and I didn't come to Robert cheat you of anything but to bless you. You can trust my father, and you can trust me. Don't worry about it. Just give me what you have. Well, I don't have very much, Lord. I only got this little bit to give you. It doesn't matter. Give me what you have. I won't leave you empty. I'll never leave you or forsake you. Yeah, but I'm a sinful man. My vessel's so full of fish is beginning to sink. Depart from me, Lord. I'm unworthy. Peter, I know all that. Don't be afraid. I came looking for you. And now I've found you and you're mine. I'm not worth very much. You don't know that. Well, I have doubts. Bring your doubts. I love honest doubters. Hey, look at this Thomas over here. I have a friend I want you to meet. The Lord of my God, he says. You may choose to ignore my father's invitation, but I'll wait for your RSVP. My father's prepared a place for you. He set the table for you and wants you there. How do I know that? Every Sunday you gather, are you not already at my table? Having communion with me? Am I not in your midst? And I'm planning on throwing a party. Come with me. I am the power to sustain you in your loss, in your cancer, in your depression, in your national uncertainty. I'm the one certainty. Empty nets or not, I came that you may have life to the full, and your fishing vessel will sink without my Father's blessing. My Father's resources are unlimited. That familiar phrase, we toiled all night and caught nothing. That's not the last word. I'm the last word. I'm the Alpha and the Omega. With me, it's fish, bread, and life without limits. I'll give you what you need. There's no going back, and you can't unsee me. Peter, can you count them? Fish or men too numerous? Abraham is still counting. I'm counting on you. Trust me. God bless you.